Hey folks. The Kingdom of Hyrule and lands beyond are filled with wonderful, bright, vibrant and full of life locations. However, there is always a side to this world that shows the dark corners of the kingdom. Haunted lands with chilling winds, ancient grounds with evil lurking, and many different eerie locations that send chills down your spine. Happy Halloween folks, welcome to my spooky special for 2024. This video is dropping on Halloween night, and to get your spook on, I thought it would be fun to take a look at some of the Zelda series' most eerie, spooky locations and what makes them so unsettling to explore. Be safe out there, and as always, be sure to go and grab yourself a delicious trick or treat folks. Send a photo in on one of my socials for a chance to be featured right here in my next video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, as it really helps the channel out. And without further ado, let's explore the eeriest, most haunting and downright unsettling locations in The Legend of Zelda. Let's start this list by looking at one of, if not maybe, my favourite dungeon in the series. Found deep within the Snowpeak Mountain range, far from Hylian civilization, we can find the abandoned and isolated Snowpeak Mansion. This is the 5th dungeon in Twilight Princess. It's extremely isolated out here, with only one route to reach it, and a pretty difficult one at that. Cold and ominous music plays in the region, but once you step inside, it's even more eerie. It's quite interesting just how detailed the inside is. It's creepy and quiet here, but yet there are two inhabitants, Yetta and Yetto, with one of them being the boss of this dungeon. Outside of the pair that for the most part stay in the opening area, the mansion is eerily quiet, mysterious, and a perfect dungeon if you ask me. We find these interesting paintings that depict key figures such as the ancient sage Rauru, the city in the sky, and even Hyrule Castle, among other locations and figures. This isn't your average home with paintings like these. We also find a bunch of royal-like symbols and crests, possibly hinting at this once belonging to the royal family of Hyrule. This is further backed by the large armories we find with weapons, shields and equipment, but where the mystery gets a little odd is the mini-boss. We find this large suit of armour, which turns out to be a dark hammer, an enemy creature much bigger than a Hylian, suiting a tail and aggressive nature. But if the dark armour fits the armour that's here, how could a Hylian? Are these suits of armour really for Hylians, or what's going on here? We don't really know, and this overall mystery of the Snowpeak Mansion has been visited time and time again over the years. I myself have even made a video on it, a good few years ago now, and it all just adds to how eerie it is. The absolute peak of the eeriness I find is when you step outside. There's harsh wind, cold music, and you're isolated deep within the mountains, far from civilization where no one can hear you. Snowpeak Mansion always delivers the eerie vibe. The most recent version of Hyrule from the Wilds era has a pretty chilling location to explore. In the north of Hyrule, not too far past the castle, we can find the famous Lost Woods. Only in this game, there is no fun upbeat music with a woodland maze like in Ocarina of Time. Rather, this is an eerie, dense labyrinth within the chilling woodlands. Trees with faces of terror, little noises mixed into the already unsettling music, and a tough puzzle of a route to find the way into the safety of center. These woods are extremely difficult to navigate through, especially on your first playthrough. There are no clear indications after the first few torches guiding the way. The trees themselves look haunted, staring us down with their creepy smiles and chilling presence. The fog here is very dense and hard to see through. If Link takes a few steps off the main route, this fog will very quickly swallow him up, and through the magic of the Lost Woods, he'll find himself back at the start. On top of this, there are also bogs within these woods, which also have the ability to swallow Link up, just in a more literal sense. In the centre we find Korok Forest, a safe haven you could say. The level of protection around them and the Great Deku Tree is spectacular. It's so good that it creates this atmosphere that is extremely eerie and unsettling. Don't ever leave your game running just standing in these woods, or else it might get you. This wouldn't be a Zelda Halloween special without something from Majora's Mask being present. One location, or rather region, that lives and breathes creepy and spooky vibes is the Kingdom of Akana. From the Hollow Valley to the chilling ruins of the castle, this former land of the mountains is an empty shell that was once full of life. The music of Akana sets the tone right away. This place is not somewhere you'll be comfortable. When Link finds this kingdom, it's haunting, and this is due to the fact that it's under a curse. The rivers have dried up, the village is overrun by Gibdo, the people of Akana still serve their kingdom even after death. It's an almost unexplainable place, much like the whole game to be honest. Anywhere you go in Akana is unsettling and not particularly fun to hang around, but the history of this place really adds to the eerie and unsettling feeling. Sometime before the events of this game, Akana was a prospering kingdom, led by their king, Aigos du Akana, along with his second-hand man, Captain Kita. The kingdom was at war with an enemy known as the Gero. Not much is known about them, other than them being spies from an enemy land. They were very skilled and managed to beat Captain Kita's troops on their own homeland. There were countless battles that lasted years. This time frame is looked at as a dark part of their history, a time of bloodshed and relentless horror for many years. Knowing this just makes standing here all the more eerie. These cursed lands are the result of a horrible conflict that didn't end well. Even more unsettling, Tatl, Link's companion, can sense when the lingering Gyros still in these lands are nearby, telling Link that she can sense a thirst for blood looming around them. The murderous warriors that ruined these lands are truly just out for blood. Returning to Twilight Princess, another incredibly eerie location that always manages to give me chills and spook me out is the Arbiter's grounds, particularly the lower levels and depths of this location. This is a former prison for the absolute worst of the worst criminals Hyrule has seen. Found far out into the Gerudo Desert, it's more than a safe distance away from the Kingdom of Hyrule, and extremely hard to reach. But if you dare to venture within, you'll have quite the experience waiting for you. The insides are old and ruined, crumbling. Sinkholes are wide open. Enemies such as Re-Dead Knights, Ghoul Rats, Poison Mites, and many others can be found here. Poes are a big part of navigating the beginning of this dungeon, as Link must hunt down 4 of them. The whole place feels empty. Because it is. You are alone here. Alone with the undead and spirits that call this place home. Like everything else on this list, the music plays a big role in making this so eerie. I mentioned I find this particularly present in the lower levels, and this comes from thinking about just how isolated this is. Not only are you outside of main Hyrule in the Gerudo Desert, but you're deep within an abandoned prison that was once used for the worst criminals in Hyrule. Ganondorf himself was taken here in the past and nearly broke out before being banished to the Twilight Realm, taking the life of a sage in the process. The mini-boss Death Sword is an extremely eerie foe. We walk into this room to find a large blade tied down by these talismans, warning us of the danger present. There's an aura to this room, but not a good one. Something isn't right about what we've just uncovered. A feeling of not being welcome. If Link cuts one of the ropes, the sword will begin to rise, paranormally floating, and then we meet the true horror of the situation. This is Death Sword, a cloaked evil spirit who wields this giant sword, and we are now locked in this room with, far from the Kingdom of Hyrule, far from our little home back in Ordon Village, about to battle this ancient foe that we've just released. who, for all we know, has been tied down for hundreds, possibly thousands of years. Link is successful here, and is able to keep moving on, but this fight alone sent tingles down my spine when I first set eyes on this enemy. I was truly scared at what I had uncovered. The main boss Stalord is equally as daunting, a reanimated beast from the past trying to tear Link down. Once again, Link succeeds. The Arbiter's grounds is one of those places that I'm always really excited to explore, but when it comes to playing through late at night, with the lights dimmed down, things can get real chilling. Before getting into the last location of the video, I want to mention a few honourable mentions that I definitely find spooky, but maybe not to the same degree as the other places on this list. The Great Bay in Majora's Mask has always felt super eerie and off-putting to me. From the dull skies to the music, it just doesn't make me feel safe, and I always get small chills when seeing this part of the game. The Temple of the Ocean King in Phantom Hourglass is quite similar for me. It's a quiet and old temple with a hollow feeling. You're usually on edge trying to avoid the Phantom Knights, whilst feeling unsettled from the aesthetic and music combined. The Haunted Wasteland in Ocarina of Time also has this sort of feeling. Whilst the music is Gerudo Valley, the harsh winds and low visibility really set an unsettling vibe. And my last honourable mention goes to Castletown, also in Ocarina of Time, after Ganondorf takes over. The transition from the cheery, bustling life of pre-Ganondorf takeover to the horror show it becomes after is crazy. It's destroyed and crawling with re-deads. The atmosphere here is chilling. It's right up there, but nothing comes close to this final location. This final location represents death and fear, an ugly part of the Hyrulean royal family's history. Bloodshed walls, echoing screams haunting the halls, used to torture prisoners during the Civil War. This is the Shadow Temple. Found at the back of Kakariko Village's graveyard in Ocarina of Time, this haunting site is guarded by a large stone door, chiseled with the Sheikah Eye. In order to get in here, Link must first play the Nocturne of Shadow. Then, to open the door, use Din's Fire to light all of the torches at once. From here, Link can enter this dungeon. The Shadow Temple is a dark, creepy, and bloodshed location, with a history full of deep horror and shame. Historically, it was used by the Sheikah in alliance with the Hyrulean royal family to torture their enemies. This was particularly key during the Hyrulean Civil War that took place before the events of Ocarina of Time. Deep inside, we can find some truly horrifying devices, from large spinning blades to literal guillotines. We can see blood on the floors and walls, which is very significant, as in Zelda games you rarely see blood this outright and red. It's often green or blue, or enemies just turn into a dark cloud upon defeat. Blood is usually censored. Nintendo wanted to set the tone here, and this certainly did the job. In the current day that we play through, it's become taboo for the Hyrulean royals to even discuss the Shadow Temple out of guilt for what they used it for and did to people, regardless of being in a war. The chilling screams that would have gone unheard here, the interrogations and violent conduct that nobody saw, and the blood that was spilled is all on the hands of the royal family. Those who seem like the good guys from our view have their dark side. The stuff that happened in here is truly morbid. We can also find a variety of creepy enemies, from the infamous nightmare-fueled Dead Hand to the creepy floor masters that can grab Link out of nowhere. There are creepy faces and designs found throughout, bones, skulls, and everything that you don't want to be seen. Not to mention the unsettling music that plays as we explore this dungeon, making the Shadow Temple one of, if not the most horrifying experiences to explore in the Zelda series. There's also the daunting ferry to the other world found deep within. a haunting ghost ship with a hooded skeletal figure at the bow. That is in the 3DS remake. In the original, this is a crow. Link must play Zelda's lullaby to get it moving, and it takes him on a short but eventful ride. He'll be faced with Stalfos as the ship sails to the other side, a necessary journey to get the boss key. It's possible that this ferry is named after Charon's ferry from Greek mythology. It's said that when the people of Greece died, they arrived in an underworld and met a ferryman named Charon. If they paid the fee, he would take them across the river Styx, that divided the world of the living and dead. Those who didn't pay wander for an eternity. In the case of the Shadow Temple, it's quite possible that playing Zelda's lullaby is a symbolic form of the payment. And if that's not made, you'd continue to just wander the temple, not getting the boss key. The Shadow Temple is topped by its boss, Bongo Bongo, a creepy headless pair of hands that smack off the bongo drum Link is standing on. We don't know the origin of this evil, and it isn't really spoken about much, only adding to the creepiness. The Shadow Temple is, for many fans, the most eerie and unsettling place in the Legend of Zelda series, especially for those who grew up playing Ocarina of Time when they were younger. This place was truly terrifying, and then made even more so when you learn the lore and history of what went on here. Thanks a ton for watching. If you enjoyed, then dropping a cheeky wee like down below, as well as considering subscribing for more fabulous Zelda content would be very much appreciated. Where in the Zelda series do you think is the most eerie to explore? Where gives you the chills and uneasy feelings? Let me know what you think in the comments, as well as how your Halloween's going, or gone depending on where in the world you live in. As always, a massive thank you goes to my channel supporters across both Patreon and YouTube memberships. These are financial forms of supporting the channel further that help to make videos just like this one all the more possible. For as little or as much as you'd like, you can pledge your backing of the channel and get some goodies such as access to my inside scoop posts, your name at the end of my videos, and a shout out when you join. If you're interested, then check out the supporting links down in the description. My social media pages are also linked down there, as well as my Discord server if you'd like to join and chat to myself and many other wonderful Zelda fans. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have or had a spooktacular Halloween, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.